Welcome everyone to our Wednesday Attraction in Action Mastermind. Guys, we do this every single week. I want you to keep showing up. Seriously, let us improve your knowledge, your skills, your mindset, and your habits around attracting agents to your organization here at EXP. And it's kind of fun to say it that way, to your organization at EXP. See, we have an opportunity to build a brokerage inside of a brokerage in an unlimited capacity. Darren just shared with us that he spoke with an agent who was all fired up to start their own brokerage. Now, guys, that used to be the pinnacle in real estate sales, right? When you've built your presence, you've built your production to the point that you don't need that brokerage any longer. In fact, you've got the skill set and the knowledge to go out and start your own brokerage. That used to be the pinnacle, right? And yet, here's the thing, that's a limited opportunity. And I want you to get your mind around the fact that it's a limited opportunity. See, broker owners are limited based on the geographic territory in which they can attract agents. Now, most agencies are never going to exceed a 10% market share. So do the math. Most brokerages are not profitable. That's the bottom line. Yet they do it out of ego. Now, at EXP, as you all well know, it's an unlimited opportunity. We're open in 24 different countries. They can expand to all 50 US states, every province in Canada and Mexico, all over South America, guys all over Europe, India, Hong Kong, Australia, just to name a few. Unlimited opportunity. Plus, they eliminate all of the carrying costs associated with brick and mortar. They eliminate all of the training issues that they have to deal with, the FF&E, the staffing, the compliance issues, and the risk. EXP takes all of that off of their plate, and they get the best of the best, which is a percentage of what those agents do. So guys, you already know, you're already sold. That's why you're here. Yet there's 4 categories that we must focus on to build a sustainable revenue share organization. Number 1 is recruiting. We're going to talk a lot about that today. Number 2 is retention. I think as the market has shifted, we're seeing a lot of agents dying on the vine. We're seeing, in my personal revenue share group, I'll be up and then I'll bounce back down, then I'll be up and then I'll bounce back down. And so retention is something I really want to discuss today. I want to learn from each and every one of you. What are you doing specifically to retain the agents? Then, of course, one of the easiest ways to retain agents is to increase the revenue. That's the third of the 4 R's, right? So improving their knowledge and skills around real estate sales such that they can provide for themselves, their loved ones at a very high level. And when they're making enough money with their brokerage, chances are they're not going to leave. And then the 4th, which to me is one of the most important categories, it's reproduction. How do we get them into action around attraction? All right, so we did have a guest today, somebody who's just crushing it with building their revenue share organization. Sadly, they had something pop up and kind of last minute had to withdraw, yet we've rescheduled them for a future session. So today, it's going to be kind of free flow. We're going to talk about whatever you want to talk about. This is going to be a true mastermind. Now, Napoleon Hill coined that phrase so many years ago. He said, when 2 or more minds come together seeking a positive solution to a situation, challenge, or question, that a third mind is created. And he called that the mastermind. So each one of you, we have an opportunity today to participate at a very high level and formulate a mind that is so much smarter, so much better than our individual minds. We're a collective group of like-minded people who want to really help EXP grow and change the lives of many individuals in the process. So with that said, what needs to happen today to have you hang up the Zoom meeting and say, Sean, that was like a 20 on a scale from 0 to 10. Let me hear from some of you right now. What would you want to walk away with today that would make today's call a 20 on a scale from 0 to 10?
I've got a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I went to the thing a couple of weeks ago, and while I was there, I was able to bring on a new agent. So I've got a new agent down there who has a lot of connections throughout Mexico, and he's really looking at the agent attraction. The difference between recruiting there and recruiting here, the closest we did a bunch of research. So there's a ton of MLSs that we're not connected with in Mexico yet. But at the same time, a lot of Mexico doesn't even use MLS when they're looking for homes and things of that nature. So the recruiting process is basically, the way I'm looking at it, is EXP at the very beginning stages of EXP, way back when we were still not the name that we are now, trying to go after that, in that early under 1,000 agents process.
Yeah.
So attracting agents here in the States is going to be doing it one way. Doing it there is going to be kind of that way. What would you recommend on how to be able to go around it on those older side, that old way of how we used to recruit?
Well, the person who brought EXP to Mexico happens to be in my second line of my organization here. His name is Orlando Montiel. He and his brother Daniel. If you've not heard of Orlando Montiel, he is probably the most influential real estate trainer coach in the Hispanic communities. And they identified the key person that worked with Michael Valdez to bring EXP to all of Mexico. So with that said, I would reach out to Orlando Montiel and Daniel, and I would ask their advice. See, those of you who are fortunate enough to have bought and sold real estate in Mexico recognize that their MLSs are in fact disjointed. In fact, in many locations, non-existent. The cooperation between agents really doesn't exist in most major markets of Mexico. So meaning the only way to survive is to list property. Meaning listing agents don't work with buyer's agents in many of the major markets. So it's challenging to find relationships. Same way in Australia, by the way. I talked to a very influential person in Australia attempting to get him over to EXP. He said, Sean, I'm open to the model. I love the model. And my question is, how will EXP help Australian agents generate more listings? And he said, and by the way, how can agents expand EXP? I said, well, most agents I know are having 5 to 15 conversations with realtors that are not with EXP on a weekly basis, just in the transactional side of the business. Is that not the case in Australia? He said, no. He said, quite honestly, I can't remember the last time I talked to another agent when doing a transaction, because they just don't cooperate with one another. You get the listing, you also get the buyer. There's no loyalty to buyer's agents in those types of markets, and Mexico is no different. So completely different type of approach, no doubt about that. And I am far from the expert. So that's, again, what I love about this format is where I lack knowledge. I know somebody on this call has that knowledge. And I'm just curious if anybody's willing to step forward, kind of raise your hand, speak up, and let's help John out with how do we attract agents in the country of Mexico? Anybody have some thoughts there?
So Sean, I'm in kind of the same boat. I've got an agent in the States who also sells in Mexico, and she looked at EXP 6 months ago, and we didn't have any MLS access in the area. I got on with I went to the EXP world, got on with, international expansion or whatever the room is, and spoke to the head guy for Mexico. And he let me know that I think we're in most of the MLSs that exist in Mexico now. And he had, I don't remember the gentleman's name, but if you pop into the EXP world, I don't know if it's under international expansion or it's under something like that, and you can find the room for Mexico and go there and talk to the brokers. They have some good information that might be helpful to you.
Thank you for that advice, John. I appreciate that. So John Huber, what we're going to do is I'd like to ask for your assistance. As you kind of navigate your way through the darkness, and trust me, it's dark. I want you to report back to this group as you learn additional information. Can you do that for all of us, please?
Absolutely. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Wonderful. Well, in all recruiting efforts, in all sales efforts, and let's face it, sales is very similar to recruiting or even attracting agents, yet everything starts with list building. So for the agent that you've attracted to align with EXP, who's very prominent in Mexico, well, it really starts with having him build a list, right? Then it's, okay, what are you going to say? How are you going to say it? Because here's the thing, if people don't know who they're going to call, they're not going to call anybody. If they don't know what they say or how they're going to say it when they call, they're not going to call anybody. And at the same time, if they don't understand what the common objections to the process are and how to overcome those objections, even if they know what to say, how to say it, even if they have their list, they're still not going to call anybody. So, John, I think those are the first 3 pillars that you got to kind of knock down here in an effort to get him into action around attraction. You got a massive opportunity there, no doubt about that. Way to go, bud. Way to go. All right, somebody else.
Guys, appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. And I appreciate you reporting back to us consistently as to what you're learning about how to expand into Mexico. I think that's a big deal. Thank you.
I will. It will be on Mexican time, so it'll be a little delayed. But yeah, absolutely. I will report back and kind of help out anybody who needs it.
Yeah, we call that mañana time. I had a boat down there in Playa del Carmen, and something was wrong with the engine, the prop. And every time I would meet with the mechanic, oh yeah, mañana. This went on for weeks, but it was
Well, if you need help with a yacht, my brother-in-law runs a yacht business down in Cancun. So if you need help, let me know. He's really good.
There you go. Well, it wasn't a yacht; it was just a fishing boat. Yet I'd like to have
Okay.
that problem someday soon. Okay.
Okay, no worries.
Right on. Okay, so there's a couple of things that were posted in the chat, then we're going to get to the other person who is speaking up. Let's go there real quick, because I thought this was so timely, Alicia, that you said please go over some of the comebacks or objection handlers to common objections like EXP as an MLM. What do you guys say? How do you say it?
Sean, I make a lot of calls, and as everybody knows, I think I've only heard that once. I hear a lot of people ask, how do you overcome that objection? I never, ever, ever get it. I mean, literally never.
Hey, Sean.
And if I did, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and John, your point is well taken, that oftentimes we hear something once and then we kind of build it up in our mind. And then that, by the way, becomes MIC fuel. MIC, it's an acronym. MIC stands for my inner cynic, right? Don't let that become the fuel or the programming that you buy into that impacts your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, and results. So yes, it is an objection. And yes, I've heard it. And they're few and far between. Yet I would encourage you to just have an semblance of what you're going to say, how you're going to say it, to really rebut that objection and move on beyond it. Because to me, it's not a real objection, because EXP is not an MLM. There's no doubt about that. Yet, Rob, I think it was Rob or Ron, you had something to say about that objection. Go ahead.
Well, I was wondering if the person thought it was a pyramid scheme. And if that were the case, I would say that pyramid schemes are illegal in the States, and that we wouldn't be allowed to be on NASDAQ if we were a pyramid scheme.
Very logical way to overcome that objection, Ron, and I totally agree. And then just move beyond it. See, to me, while the compensation model is structured similarly to an MLM, it's not an MLM, and yet it's a common misconception that maybe gives people justification not to improve and enrich their lifestyle and their future at the same time. See, simply put, the EXP compensation model, to me, it's a model designed around growth. That's it. See, Glenn Sanford, the founder of EXP, a really smart businessman, recognizes in order to get you and I to do anything to help EXP grow, well, he better compensate us to do it. And this is the most lucrative opportunity in front of you today. And I love how Darren said it earlier. What's your freedom number? Let's just explore that for a moment. And that's how we would move beyond the objection, if that makes sense. Meaning it's no longer about that. It's really about this. It's level shifting technique in neurolinguistic programming. So I'm going to shift gears. What's your freedom number? Well, what do you mean? Well, what are all your monthly expenses? Like if you could just wave a magic wand and that money shows up in your account every single month, you don't worry about things like a lease or mortgage payment, car payments, insurance, groceries, utilities. You don't worry about that stuff. What is your monthly nut that you get a crack every single month just to survive? I'm just curious, and you don't even have to give me the number. In fact, everybody, let's go through the exercise real fast. Take out your cell phone, open up your calculator, and do it with me. What is your monthly expense, your personal expenses? By the way, include the IRS because they're going to get their take, you know that. And whatever that number is it 5,000? Is it 3,000? Is it 40,000? Whatever that number is, I want you to plug that number in. And then I want you to divide it very quickly by the number 61. 61, that seems to be, based on my independent research, the mathematical cheat. Meaning no matter what level of your organization they join at EXP, because we're compensated different amounts at different tiers, no matter what level they join, provided you've unlocked that tier, the average works out to be about $61 per agent per month. So take your monthly nut number, divide that by 61, and that represents the number of agents that you need in your organization at EXP, never to worry about finances again, to be able to do what you want, when you want, where you want. And I think we all want that, yes? So with that said, in an effort to make this happen, gang, each one of you must improve the strength of your foundation in agent attraction. Now, increasing your strength is not an option, it is a must, right? And every day we're learning more and more and more about how to move agents over to EXP. I mean, there's a lot of psychology that comes into play here. There's no doubt about that. Yet the more you know, the more you grow. In essence, we've got to improve our state of being, right? Now, there's 4 things that impact our state of being, as well as the depth, the width, the amount of concrete and steel within our foundation. And with the right foundation, we can build our business as big as we want to build it. So those 4 categories, and you hear me say it all the time, it's your knowledge, your skills, your mindset, and your habits. Now, these 4 things will impact your state of being. And what I mean by that is how you show up to the world, how you show up to your clients, your prospects, your candidates, your past clients, your sphere of influence, your friends and family members. And when you can improve those 4 categories, your state of being is elevated. Now, a lot of people find themselves guilty of comparing themselves to somebody else. How many of you on this Zoom meeting have done that in your past? Anyone other than me? Compared yourself to somebody else? And you look at this person and the monumental success that they've achieved, and you kind of go inward, don't you? How does it make you feel? Now, you, like me, it probably makes you feel like shit, right? John, go ahead. You were going to say something.
I was going to say, when your business partner, Sean Kokoska, you kind of do that on a daily basis, But if you can shift to how do I get to be more like that person versus I wish I was like that person, it's little tiny increments, like 1% improvement a week makes you 50% better than you were last year by the end of the week or end of the year. 1% a day, and you won't recognize who you used to be. I always tell my wife that I'm so embarrassed of the man that I was when we got together. And she's like, you shouldn't be. I said, no, I'm very proud that I am, because that means I've grown a lot. I'm not where I want to be, but I've grown a lot. And I used to do that comparison thing all the time. And it's just another weight that you carry around. It's like carrying a grudge. The other person doesn't even know it. You're carrying it by yourself.
That's
so
right.
It's.
Well, comparing yourself to others, guys, let's face it, it kills all joy. It truly does. It kills all joy. Yet a lot of people, they approach their success just like that, meaning, well, if I had what so-and-so has, then I could do what they do, and then I could be the person I want to be. Guys, that's completely backward. Or they say, well, if I do the work, then I'm going to have the bank account balance, I'm going to have the income, then I could be the person I want to be. Now, money is not going to change your state of being. I promise you that. See, it's not about having first. It's not about doing first. It's about being first. When you're being that person, you'll do what that person does, and you're going to have whatever it is you want in your life. It's simply a matter of time. It's kind of like you were born without your wisdom teeth, right? They just hadn't shown up yet. It's just a matter of time, and it just takes consistency. Now, you're either green and growing, or you're ripe and rotting, right? See, I love what Lincoln said so many years ago. I don't think much of a person who isn't a better person today than they were yesterday. So in an effort to improve your state of being, guys, I just encourage you, keep showing up to this call on a weekly basis. Those of you who are really serious about attracting agents, I would strongly encourage you to engage in our program called Attraction in Action. Many of you have been through it before, and yet since we launched that program, we've learned so much, and we've modified the program, adding so many additional things to it that I think you should take it again. In fact, I'm not joking when I say I think you should take it 10 times. Like, imagine the first time you take it, you're in like the 2nd or 3rd grade. Just remember, every master was once a disaster, and we all start somewhere. So imagine you're starting in the 2nd or 3rd grade, and every time you take it, you're taking a 2 to 3 year leap in your education. Guys, 10 times will graduate from high school, get you through college, get you your master's degree. And that's what we want, because when you've got better knowledge, skills, mindset, and habits of your competitors, you're going to win the deal every time. Kind of like a race car. If it's 5% faster than the other race car, it's going to win the race every time. No doubt about that. So, John, you've had your hand up for a second. Thanks for your patience. Take it away.
No, I was just going to say, and thank you. I was just going to say the key thing that made me shift from wanting to be like other people and or wanting to have what other people had was, I think in like 2015, 2016, I saw this Tony Robbins video that was about starting your year off right. And the whole point of the entire 45-minute video was, if you want to improve your life, just raise your standards. Raise your standards in that I don't miss a Wednesday call. I missed it last week when I was trying to come back from Mexico and flight got delayed and I had to spend an extra day in Mexico. It wasn't the worst thing that's ever happened to me, but it's raise your standards. That's it. If once you raise your standards and you're not setting goals of, I want to learn this year, it's my standard is I'm going to master this year or whatever it's going to be. You raise your standards and then it's a whole different ballpark. And you look at the people that are really successful, what have they done? They've increased their standards year after year, week after week. And then all of a sudden we just see somebody like Sean and we go, holy cow, overnight success. And he goes, yeah, raising my standards 20 years in a row. That's how you become it. So that was the key thing that I took away.
Well, thank you, John.
Raising mine.
That was awesome. So by raising your state of being, you raise your state of doing. Now, the standards to me are in the category of doing. Does that make sense? And you're not going to do what you need to do unless you're being the person you want to be. So if I could be so bold as to give each one of you an assignment, obviously I'm not going to grade it or hold you accountable to it, yet I would just invest a little strategic thought time to literally take pen to paper, to physically write this out instead of type it, because there's a psychological connection where you engage the physiology of writing it down, the psychology of change. You write it out. Who do you need to be in order to do what you need to do to have what you want to have? Just find clarity in that. And then it's about discipline first, to the point that it's no longer about discipline. It's about habit. And you're being that person on a consistent and repetitive basis. So very quickly about our Attraction in Action program, many of you know that we did that live for multiple launches of that sequence. Then, we brought it to a digital format so you can do it anytime you want, wherever you want. Sign up today, take the first session today. Now, that's great. And yet without that live interaction, I feel that there's a disconnect. So Rob Daniel, by the way, is on this call with us today. Rob is just a dynamic presenter, just an influential person. He's made the decision to align with Icon Coaching as a trainer. Now, a little background about Rob. He's a former Keller Williams Bold coach. He mentored under me for about a year before he took off and started doing his own Bold programs. He was Bold coach 3 years in a row. And he has made the decision to align with Icon Coaching as a trainer, as a presenter. And he's going to be presenting live, right, side by side with me, kicking off on May 3rd. So guys, I'd encourage you, mark your calendar. It's a very inexpensive program. It's $497. And if you use this VIP code, it's a promo code, it's live, LIVE, which will be up for the next 7 days. I'd encourage you to go to our website, iconcoaching.com, click on programs, go to Attraction in Action, enter that promo code. We're going to give you a $100 discount. So it's $397. Now you think, okay, well, what is my evolution to becoming the person that I want to be? I think that's really step number one, in my humble opinion. Step number two, and as many of you know, John Mendelson, who's been active on today's call, he's also made the decision to align with Icon Coaching, and he's developed a program called Rev Share Builders, which I think is step number two in your evolution. Okay, Attraction in Action is really about attracting those agents that are local to your market that you've got relationships with. Now, once you've burned through that list, and you will, with tenacity, then it's about cold calling. And that's exactly what John Mendelson is the foremost expert at, which is the cold calling sequence. And it's the what to say, the how to say it, the systems, the technology, how do you list build, all that stuff is in John's course. So Attraction in Action first, Rev Share Builders second, and then beyond that, guys, the sky's the limit. Then it may become about one-on-one coaching or something like that, yet to constantly improve your state of being, improving your knowledge, your skills, mindset, and habits on a daily basis. And the compounding effect of that is monstrous. Think back to your very first employment out of your last formal education. Maybe it was high school, maybe it was college, right? And your first job, how much money did you make? And for me, I was delivering pizzas. Okay, I made about, I don't know, $800 a week, including tips. So you do the math on that, that's about $2,400 a month. That's under $30,000 per year. Guys, if I had to go back to that, I wouldn't be able to survive. And many of you are in the same position, that first job, making that much money. See, what you've done is you've incrementally increased your financial thermostat in the process. Now, just like that thermostat on the wall, it's set at a particular number, and you've set that unknowingly, maybe unwittingly, yet this is your pain threshold where you'll work hard enough to keep it comfortable. Now, by the way, if the room starts getting too hot, of course, the AC kicks on, and I see a lot of people self-sabotage in the process. I want you to kind of liken that financial thermostat and how you've raised it, year after year after year in your career to your knowledge and skill base, and how you've raised that year after year after year. Now, if you choose to, recognizing that your business, your production, your bank account balance and net worth, it's going to grow to the extent that you personally grow, you're going to look for shortcuts. See, the smart ones always look for the shortcuts, no doubt about that. And traction in action, rev share builders, guys, these are your shortcuts to massive success, no doubt about it. So Rob Daniel, since I mentioned your name, buddy, why don't you speak up a little bit? Tell them a little bit about yourself.
All right, everybody. Well, listen, I see a couple of people that I know on here. Good friend of mine, Tim Myers, on here that we go back a long ways also, Sean, even before you. And so he lives in one of my favorite places, Williamsburg, Virginia. Hey, listen, I just want to let you know, I've been in the business for 35 years, give you the 2-second tour. And, one of the biggest things that I think I can really help you is attracting talent. Okay. And so again, I've done that, for really almost probably 30 years anyway, maybe 28 years in recruiting and doing the things that I have been able to do. I took a region one time from somewhere around 280 agents to 900 agents. I took individual people and helped them to grow their line, everything about it. Recruiting for market centers and offices and these. There's no doubt about it. Make sure that you take the attraction in action. It's going to start May the 3rd, I believe it is. I think that's what whenever we're going to do it. And May the 3rd, because I believe I can give you some great ideas, great thoughts that's going to really increase your revenue share in such a big way that it's just going to absolutely blow your mind. So invest in yourself and just watch it grow from there. There you go, Sean.
Right on. Thank you for introducing yourself, Rob. Just a couple other things about Rob. Not only was he Bold Coach of the Year for 3 consecutive years, impacting tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of lives in the process. He's a really rock solid family man. I'll tell you what, he's got grandkids, kids. He's been married for 45 years. Am I right, Rob?
45 years. And don't forget, this Sunday, I'm running a 10-miler for Disney. It's their last race. And 3 of my grandkids are running with me. So
it's so awesome, buddy. So awesome. So yeah, he runs the Boston Marathon. He's a freak of nature. So that's it, in a really powerful way, and he'll help you grow. All right. So I want to get back to a couple of other objections. I don't want to recruit. And John, I love your objection handler to this. I'm going to call you out. Somebody says, well, John, I love the model. It makes sense to me, but this whole revenue share thing, and I just don't want to recruit. What do you say?
I say, great, don't. I do, and I'm really damn good at it. So what I need from you is I need the top 5 people that know you, like you, trust you, that are capping level agents. You give me their contact information. I will recruit them. I'll put them in your line 1. They'll be in my line 2. We'll double dip. We'll both get paid. If I can get 2 or 3 for somebody in a front line, well, then they're 2 or 3 away from level 2 opened up, and they already see that the process works. And if they want to keep feeding me, that's cool, because I get paid 32 on line 2 versus 28 on line 1. Exactly. But either way, it creates a stickiness with that person. Nobody walks away from free money. There's so many opportunities to help your prospective frontline agents, and you make money as well. It's designed as a win-win. Glenn designed it to pay you more to help the people you recruit than recruit for yourself. And
Yep.
so that's what I say.
I love it, John. And how many of you have attracted an agent to EXP who said, I'm never going to recruit, don't even ask me about it. And then they get a taste of it and they become your biggest bird dogs to go out and recruit. Anyone? I've had the exact same thing happen where they said, I'm never going to recruit. I don't want to be that agent. And before you know it, they're attracting agent after agent after agent because they got a small taste of it. And now they're hooked. They're addicted to it. And that's what we want to see. That's the reproduction aspect of it all. All right. So moving on to the next objection. And Alicia, thank you again for posting these. This is good stuff. Well, moving is just too hard. Moving is just too hard. What do you say, guys?
That's where
I'm
I'm going to just go in because I love the objection handler thing. And that's where I just throw in, I use the same objection handler for 99.999% of the objections, which is, hey, Sean, I totally get it. Let me just ask you one more quick question and I'll let you jump off the phone. If I could show you how to put an extra 30 to 50 grand net in your pocket in the next 12 months without changing anything that you're doing in your business, would that be worth a 20-minute call with me? So I don't handle the objection. I just move on and I give them that. And then their mind shifts from their objection to, is 20 to 30 grand worth, or 30 to 50 grand worth 20 minutes of my time? And I have about a 50% conversion on a objection to an appointment with that objection handler.
I love it, John. Thank you for sharing that. And each one of you could very easily do that. Now, there's really 4 steps to handling objections. I want to remind you of these 4 steps. Number 1, we must acknowledge the objection. And it could be something as simple as, well, I totally understand where you're coming from. See, they're not going to be open to hearing what you have to say until they know that they've been heard. As Stephen R. Covey said in the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he said, seek first to understand, then to be understood. So acknowledge the objection, step number 1. Number 2, isolate the objection. So for example, other than just this perception that shifting brokerages and moving is just too hard, is there any other reason you wouldn't set an appointment to discuss the model with me at a deep level? Now, Sean, I'm fearful of new business cards, new signs, changing my marketing, all that stuff. Okay, so that's the only reason. What you've done through isolation is you've backed them into a corner. There's no better way to say it, right? And it would be awkward for them to object again because they said that's the only reason. Then you can handle the objection. For example, let me just ask you, have you ever been in a position in your life, let's say you're taking a road trip and you realize that, so you took the wrong exit. Has that ever happened to anybody? You're on a road trip or you're running an errand and you're on the highway and you realize that you deviated from the correct path, you took the wrong exit. Anyone? Yeah, of course, we've all been there. Now, let me just ask, what did you do when you realized that you were on the wrong road? Now, come on, guys, what do you suppose they say?
Change their course.
Yeah, change the course, did a U-turn, and you got onto the road that you were supposed to be on. Is that right? So what I'd encourage you to do, let's just carve out 20 minutes. Let's talk about the EXP model as it relates to your production, your stock portfolio, and your ability to retire. Perhaps this could be the right road. If nothing else, at least you have a good working knowledge of what other models exist in the brokerage world. So tell me, when's the best time for you and I to get together? Is it mornings or afternoons? Now, remember, they already objected and said that's the only reason they were objecting. So you've handled the objection. And by the way, step number 4, which is the most important, ask again. And so many times in role play sessions, working on skill set with people, they'll do a marvelous job of handling the objection, and then they just stop. No, you've got to ask again for what you want, right? People who get what they want, they've just enhanced their ability to ask for it. That's all. That's all. All right, gang. So Alicia, I'm going to call you out. Any follow-up questions to the objection handlers that we provided to you today? Any concerns? Any thoughts around, was it adequate? Do you think it would work? Do you think it wouldn't work? If not, then why? Go ahead.
The only thing I get is like, oh, I've got a bunch of stuff in escrow that's going to be closing. And how do I do that? I need to wait a month or 2 months before I can close all those things before I come over. How do I handle that?
I love it. Well, let's get together and let's come up with a plan that will allow you to very easily, very smoothly segue your license over to EXP with the rest of us, and let's start building that residual and passive income. Plus, let's start building your net worth through equity, stock, and ownership. So when do you have just 20 minutes? We'll carve out a plan to make sure that we can do this easily, smoothly. See, there's an old bold law that I coined so many years ago that I think applies to this situation. And that is focus on the plan, not the problem. See, when we focus on the problem, what that does is it pulls us to a past and or present mindset, and what we focus on expands. So it has a negative impact on the current attitude, mindset, actions, and future results. You guys with me on that, right? So this person that you're speaking with, Alicia, they are focused on the problem. I've got all these pending contracts. I got these active listings. I think I'll wait until I have no business. And by the way, if they're a productive agent, they're always going to have business pending. So there's never a good time, right? So they're focused on the problem, and what we focus on expands. Rather, we've got to get them focused on the plan. See, when we focus on the plan, provided it's the right plan, and we've got clarity, what that does is it pushes us to a future mind space that is always a positive environment that has a positive impact on the current actions and future results. You guys with me? And by the way, you each do this with your buyer and seller prospects every single day. It's just a matter of transforming that same mindset into what you do with agent attraction. Get them focused on the plan. I mean, you got a buyer who doesn't have enough cash for the down payment and closing costs. Well, let's get focused on a plan. How much money do you need? How much money can you set aside on a monthly basis? I'm going to touch bases with you on the first of every month. Just check in, how you doing, and kind of help you by holding you accountable to accomplishing your goal. Would that be okay with you? Maybe they got a credit issue. They got to get it cleaned up. Okay, well, let's get focused on the plan instead of the problem. See, focus on the problem, you're going to sink in the quicksand. Focus on the plan. It's like the olive branch has been extended to you and you can climb your way out. Is making sense, guys? I love it. Alicia, great follow-up question. Was that adequate? Do you have any other questions?
That was perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So how do you respond to an agent that they say that they have a previous or another connection with eXp Realty, and if they move to eXp, they would sign up under them? Now, here's my input, guys. If they said that to you, that if they move to eXp, they're signing up under John Doe, great. That would be a huge win for our company. I think it's awesome. Let them go. See, because many of you, like me, have been in that that situation where, and I kind of liken it to this, where, see, my family, we love grilling. Okay, we got this gorgeous outdoor kitchen, and we grill 5 times a week, no doubt. And I liken it to this. Okay, so you went to the butcher, you got the filet mignon, right? You've marinated it, you got it set out, it's at room temperature. You fired up the grill's all set, ready to go. You of course sear it on both sides before you turn the grill down, right? You can see the juices coming out of it. Your mouth begins to water, right? And it's finally ready to pull off the grill. It's a perfect temperature. Seriously, I mean, your mouth is watering. You're just so excited. You grab the tongs, you pull it off of the grill, and here comes this Doberman, right? Just chomps on that steak and just pulls it away from you. And that's sometimes how it feels at eXp. So I never want to be that guy, if that makes sense. See, no recruit is worth my reputation. And I would encourage you all to covet that reputation, to protect that reputation. And if they say, if I join eXp, I'm joining under Jane Doe, hey, that would be a huge win for our company. Let me know if you have any questions. Let them go. So I don't want to be the Doberman. You know what I mean? So and maybe some of you have a different mindset, and that's okay. And that's what I love about this format, because there's my way of doing things, your way of doing things, and the way doesn't exist. So great question from, who was that, by the way? That was Linda Hedrick. Thank you, Linda. Great question from Pueblo, Colorado, by the way. If you have any referrals that way, send them Linda's direction. She'll get them closed. I promise you that. Okay, so question from Rob E. So what country does operate the most like US? My guess would be that it's probably Canada. Probably operates the most like US, yet there's some changes and some nuances to the model. I'd encourage you to log into the world, get yourself educated. Okay, yet I don't know the answer to that question. That's why I want to bring it up to the group. Anybody have some thoughts on that they want to share?
Are you talking about the differences between Canada and the US?
No, just which country operates the most like US out of the 24 countries we're open in?
Yeah, it would definitely be Canada. If anybody wants to know, they can go on Your Own Careers website, and they do have both the US and Canada slide decks available on your careers page, and you can see the differences there.
Fantastic, Joe. Thank you for sharing that. That's perfect. That's what I love about the format, guys. So good. Chad would love to have access to the 4-quadrant script. How do you rate your current brokerage, 0 to 10? That script is part of the Attraction in Action program. You guys, and let me tell you how I'm leveraging that script. Essentially, I have, say, an ISA who's going to make the initial outreach on my behalf. Okay. Frankly, I wish I did, yet I don't have the time to do that myself. So since it needs to be done, I have to think in terms of who, not you. Who can do that for me, right? So I've got an ISA, they make the initial outreach. This could be a cold call. This could be an agent who engaged in a webinar or requested information on the website. Maybe they wanted to download, the 7-step open house formula, and they pay for that information out with money, with their identity. So we get their first and last name, their email address, and phone number. And the ISA is going to call them, and they're going to leverage a script that was developed by my partner, John Mendelson. And it's a cold outreach. In essence, their first step is to set an appointment to investigate the EXP model. Now, the ISA is also going to do the second call, and they're going to take them through a brokerage assessment. Now, this ISA is not licensed. They are not with EXP, so they cannot talk about EXP. However, they can talk about their existing brokerage and move them psychologically from a positive present mindset, meaning I'm at Remax, I'm happy where I'm at, to shift them to a negative present mindset, which is, well, maybe if I stay at Remax, I'm not going to get what I want in the future, to then move them from a negative present mindset to a negative future mindset. Now, once they've done that successfully, and the script is it's spot on, and it happens 99% of the time, they move them to a negative future mindset, meaning describe your business for me, your income, your net worth, 5 years down the road. If nothing in the rating, you just give them your broker changes. And the person says, well, I suppose I'll just more of the same. Well, and do you believe in this statement that if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you always got? No doubt. So in order to get to better, we must get to different. Would you agree with that? They always say yes. So now they're negative future mindset. You follow me? So now they're primed and they're ready to set an appointment to speak with me. So let's do this. And I'm going to leverage what I call the ABC approach. Now, ABC in my methodology stands for action, benefit, commitment. So they're going to shift gears to the ABC approach, and they say, okay, so let's do this. Let's simply set an appointment for you to meet directly one-on-one with Sean Kokoska. Sean is going to outline and articulate the 8 different ways that you should be being compensated. He's going to show you how to improve your net income, your net worth, and strongly enhance your ability to retire from this industry if you choose to within the next 5 years. So tell me, when is the best time for you to get together with Sean? Is it mornings or afternoons? And that becomes the commitment. So action first, you guys. What do you want them to do? Now, the moment you ask them to do something, and I mean anything, there's a question that appears in their mind, and that's, what's in it for me? Why should I do that? So we immediately follow the action with the benefit. Put it on a silver platter for them. Say, here's what's in it for you. Here's why you should say yes. Then once you've outlined the benefit, and by the way, the benefit must be attached to them, not to you. Meaning the benefit to you is when you join EXP and you sell a house, well, my family gets a portion of your commissions. Yay. That's not all inspiring. What's in it for them? What are the benefits attached to that person? And by the way, the benefit can be different for this candidate than it is for that candidate. It depends on where they're at in their growth trajectory in their career. So once you've identified what they want, that becomes your benefit. And then you segue easily into an alternative choice commitment. So what works best for you? Is it mornings or afternoons? In fact, I believe that people who get what they want, they've simply enhanced their ability to ask for it. And I want to dive a little bit deeper into the benefit aspects. In essence, here's a question for you that I want you to ponder. And if you've got some thoughts that pop into your head, I want you to unmute yourself and share it with the rest of the group. If I were a candidate thinking about joining EXP, why would I join under you? Or if I were a candidate, knew nothing about EXP, why would I want to invest my time to meet with you to discuss the model? Does anybody have some thoughts as it relates to the answer to that question?
One of the things that I use is I actually had an agent that was with Remax, and he said that same thing. I was thinking about joining under another agent. And I asked him really quick, I said, well, is that agent actively pursuing you, or do you just know who they are? And he's like, yeah, they were with our company. I don't really know her that well, and she hasn't really recruited me. I said, well, here's the benefit for joining my team is I'm actually going to actively recruit for you, and I'm going to taproot for you, and I'm going to help you build your organization. Is anyone else going to do that for you? But I will. And he's like, that's awesome.
Fantastic. So then you just segue from the benefit right into the commitment.
Yep.
So alternative choice, it's the easiest way to do it. So would you like to complete the application right now while we're on the Zoom meeting so I can help you, or can you get it done by tonight at 9, which is better for you?
Yep.
So alternative choice, kind of hard to say no to that, right? It's one or the other. Okay, and I'm trying to get through the notes here as quickly as I can, gang.
Hey, Sean, while you're reading real quick, I'm going to jump in if that's okay and just say, if your script is, in my opinion, if your script is put together right and put together very well, you're going to get so few objections. I'm not saying you don't need to have objection handlers, but I get so few that I don't know the last time I've said anything other than the objection handler that I stole from Sean, kind of worded it a little bit more like the rest of my scripting. But guys, having the right script and asking the right questions in the script, and it literally walks them through to a yes.
No doubt.
And so,
but in each
scripting
one
is important.
You can develop all of that on your own. It's just through seat of the pants experience, no doubt about that. Now, you can bash your head against the wall as many times as you want before you learn, or you can shortcut the process. That's all I'm saying, right? See, the smart people, they learn from their own mistakes and they tweak things, they change things so that mistake never happens again in a fix, prevent kind of mindset. Yet the smarter people, they learn from the mistakes of others. And I think the exceptional people, those that achieve extraordinary success, well, they study the successes of those that have gone before them. There are people who have reached a level of mastery with this, and you can glean as much information from them as possible, which is why you show up to this call on a weekly basis. I love it. Here's another objection, came from Sally, and Sally, thank you for posting this. Where is your office? Where's your office? So what are your thoughts, guys? What do you say when somebody says, where's your office?
Wherever you want it to be.
Rob, I love it. Wherever you want it to be. And my common response is, well, it's located in the cloud. In fact, my commute time is all of about 10 seconds with over 800 full-time employees that are standing by, ready, willing, and able to help me with my problem. Now, this is an instant gratification model. Now, let me digress. When I was with Remax, I loved Remax, loved my time there. My managing broker was a competing broker. He's building his own book of business. Now, let's say you got a relocation client in from out of town for 4 days in a row. Sometimes it was hours, sometimes it was days before he could get back to me. Not in the world. Man, I'll tell you what, there's never been a time that I had a problem or question that I wasn't in and out within 5 minutes with the correct answer to my question. And that is what you want, isn't it? Say yes, guys, come on.
Yes, yes.
So my office is located in the cloud. My commute time is 10 seconds. That's how I would handle it. Any other thoughts there?
Well, just ask the people, how often do you actually go into your office? I mean, when I was with Keller Williams, the only time I ever went into the office is if I had to make copies of something. But I'm not making money in the office. If I'm not out in the field, I'm not making money. You know, I got to be talking to people. So, I mean, how much does your office really make you money? Or is it more just a comfort thing?
Yeah. My mother used to say, I never sold and listed a house sitting at my desk. So you do have to be out there a little bit. Oh, Judy, thanks for posting the link to a video that says a brief description about EXP. Not an MLM, guys. I'd encourage you to click on that, pause it so we don't have to hear it yet. Watch that a little bit later. Okay, if you had 10 to 15 in your first line, what typically would the organization number look like? Well, the one thing I know about typical is that nothing is typical at EXP. It really depends on how aggressively you pour into these agents to educate them on the how to recruit agents. So it's that fourth R, right? It's the reproduction aspect. As I said earlier, if they don't know what they're going to say or how they're going to say it, they don't know who they're going to call, they're not going to call anyone. So really, it's a transfer of mindset. Now, we had Connor on. He's the founder of the Wolf Pack, by the way, like a month ago. I'd encourage you to go to iconcoaching.com, click on the events tab, go to attraction and action, and then scroll down to don't miss a thing. I would encourage you to watch that replay from Connor Steinbrook. Just remarkable. He talked about transforming mindset. So we're going to start there, transforming mindset. Then we're going to enhance the strength of their foundation and state of being by improving their knowledge, skills, mindset, and habits. So I'd encourage you each to develop a script manual, objection handler manual, get it in their hands, practice and role play with them, or develop a training program that you can teach to everybody in your organization all at the same time to create time abundance while accomplishing your goals, or get them to plug into attraction and action would be a good thing, and then rev share builders, and then potentially one-on-one coaching. So we're here to support and help you guys. That's the bottom line. Okay, sorry if I missed this earlier. Where do you find or purchase? Sorry, I've got something covering this up. I apologize. Lists of new agents, information for recruiting. Great question. Thank you for that, Genevieve. So where do you find a list of new agents? Now, I've got an agent who's in my front line in Austin, Texas. He went to a local real estate college. Essentially, they do online training. They do live and in-person training. He just approached them and said, how do I sponsor your program? How can I get in front of your groups? How can I get that list? And believe it or not, they do have a model that they sell that information. So you can simply acquire it through purchase and then follow up with them because they've yet to make a decision to join EXP. Now, a word of caution, if you're only going to go after brand new agents, you better have a rock solid training program to get them plugged into. Otherwise, you're investing 2 to 3 hours per individual, getting them onboarded to EXP. They come to EXP, they're brand new, they don't know their head from their feet. And sadly, the attrition rate in the first 12 months for real estate agents is about 83%. So you're going to do a lot of work getting them to EXP, and they may not succeed. My input, go after experienced agents, those that are proven talent, get them to join EXP because it's been proven time and time again. And Ashley Galladay put all the numbers together for me, which proves without a shadow of a doubt that productive agents attract more agents to align with EXP to a rate of about 15-1 versus new agents. So new agents is a strategy, yet you got to have a rock solid plan to train them. All right, gang. Sadly, we are out of time. I've been having fun with you guys. In fact, I just looked at the clock and I can't believe that hour went by so quickly. So guys, any questions real quick before I let you all run and get on with your busy day?
Hi, Sean. I have a question.
All right, Angela, take it away.
Just to confirm, the best call to have an agent that is interested and wants to join is the one on Friday at 12, right?
Yeah, that's a great way that they can gain an education on the 8 different ways we compensate agents at EXP. For those of you who do not know what Angela is talking about, every Friday at 12 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Pacific, I do a 1-hour EXP model explained. I do it live. And while I won't be doing it this Friday, I'll be in an airplane. Sean Policino will be covering that call for me, yet we walk through the entire model. Now, a group presentation is different than a one-on-one presentation. The group presentation is more about education, where we're telling rather than selling, yet the model sells itself. And while we do engage some of the psychology associated with the agent attraction in that group format, it's really challenging in a group format. And I think you guys can understand why. Yet if you just want to give them an education and you want them there live, invite them to the Friday call with one little caveat and disclaimer. At the end of the call, I do talk about my revenue share organization and the benefits associated with that. Yet I also mention whoever invited you to today's call, they will be your sponsor at EXP. Okay, so if you're okay with that, invite them to engage, get them plugged in. All good things. Great question.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. I'm just going to ask for a special wish, wishing me well, good luck, if you will. Tomorrow, I have the opportunity. I'm going to be golfing with Jack Nicklaus here in West Palm Beach, Florida. Just say a prayer for me that I don't top the ball, that I don't embarrass myself, that I don't hit a house with the golf ball. Yeah, have me in your prayers. That's all I ask. So I'm fired up for that. I cannot wait. I've got a laundry list of questions that I'm gonna this guy has no idea what he's in for. Yet then we have dinner at his home after the fact. I'm so once in a lifetime opportunity, so fired up. Thank you all for being here. Keep showing up. Let us just improve your knowledge, skills, mindset, and habits, as well as your state of being through this process. Until we talk again next time, just be on purpose, be productive, be powerful game. Talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.